Hi, my name is Jaia.
I'm Nicia.
I'm Kasaya.
And my name is Patria, and we are a part of SPNN's Youth Intern Program. Our group did our documentary on sex trafficking. We have recently learned about sex trafficking and what is being done to end it. Not many people in Minnesota realize that it is a serious issue. But here are some people and organizations who are actively trying to stop it from happening in our community.
The first group of people that we talked to was the St. Paul Youth Commission. The St. Paul Youth Commission is a group of youth who works with the city to solve community issues. They explained to us how sex trafficking works in Minnesota.
My name is Tabitha Mitchell.
Peniel Taruna.
My name is Evelina Rosario.
My name is Contessa Boston.
The Youth Commission is
A city council except with teens.
It's a committee of 22
High schoolers that live in St. Paul.
who pick between 3 different subtopics to teach the community about.
the goal is to have every single neighborhood represented.
We educate other youth because we think it's powerful.
Before I joined the youth commission, I had no idea about what sex trafficking was or where it's happening or anything about that.
Sex trafficking in Minnesota, it's kind of like under the bridge.
Not a lot of people know about it. They kind of dismiss it.
It's a big issue, and a lot of people turn their back to it. That's how I see it.
Obviously, like when a person comes up to you, they're not going to state, "Hey, want to be sex trafficked?" There's a lot of persuading involved, manipulation.
It usually starts with being vulnerable.
They're in a vulnerable situation, so maybe they don't have a steady parent at home.
You have young girls who feel like they need affection, so they go to find it elsewhere.
Some need or want is not being taken care of.
And so somebody will come along and be like, hey, I can provide this stuff for you. They'll buy you really nice things, they'll support you, make sure that you're happy, and then they'll be like, hey, I need you to do this one thing for me.
The girls get caught up in this system of affection and they want to be loved, so they'll do anything.
The biggest misconception is that it's a choice.
Honestly, they're exploiting these girls.
This is not a choice for a minor to say, I'm going to have someone else sell my body for their profits.
I had one woman tell me that, well, she asked for it. And I hear that kind of stuff all the time, but a lot of the misconceptions of sex trafficking is that people do it voluntarily.
And they want to stay there and they can just leave whenever they want without physical violence.
These girls get dragged into something that they don't know about, and it consumes them, and it's hard to get out of. In order to stop it and or change it, you have to understand it. You don't have to live it, but you have to understand it.
After learning about how sex trafficking works in Minnesota, we decided we wanted to find out what the government was doing to stop sex trafficking. We talked to Jim McDonough, a Ramsey County commissioner who has been working on the prevention of sexual violence and sex trafficking for 8 years.
My name is Jim McDonough. I'm a Ramsey County Commissioner. I represent the east side of St. Paul in the Ramsey County Board of Commission. I was at a conference in D.C. and I listened to a fabulous person, I call her my hero, Cordelia Anderson, who really started to talk about sexual violence and harm in our community, and it really hit me right here. And afterwards I reached out and I said I need to be involved. I've had taken on this issue both in the county, at home, what we do with policies. Out in the community, I've given many, many talks, in particular to men about sex trafficking. We need to talk about it. We need to acknowledge what's going on in our community. We need to challenge each of us to do better, right? The current state is it's happening everywhere. Suburbs, inner city, it's happening in all of our neighborhoods. And we have to recognize that. All of society gets affected by this issue, but for the most part, that young girl who is being trafficked against her will, who is being forced to do things with men she's never ever met in her entire life, and being forced to do that day after day, to make that change so we can get them out of that. And we need to do that as long as someone's being victimized. But prevention is really going to be the key to eliminating that. And that takes some money, that takes community support, that takes some policy changes. One of the biggest changes that's occurred so far in Ramsey County and people like me and many others, we've been advocating for years that especially kids, our youth, when they get involved in this, they should not be treated as criminals. As of August 1st of last year, 18 and under now, all those young girls and some young boys, they're treated as victims. It's never enough. We've got a long way, as long as there's one individual out there being trafficked, in my mind, it's not enough until we totally eliminate it.
After getting the government's perspective, we wanted to talk to people who are working with victims. We went to Brittany's place, which is a part of 180 Degrees. We talked to Dr. Tamara Madsen about her work with sex trafficking victims.
My name is Dr. Tamara Madsen. Brittany Claret is who we named our shelter and residential facility after. She was the young lady who was trafficked, and her body was found in the car in the impound lot 2 years ago. And so Brittany was a thriving young adolescent, and she was just going about her life, and an older guy approached her and started taking a liking to her, promised her the world. After knowing him for 8 months, her John killed her. So the mission of Brittany's Place is to provide an alternative to juvenile detention. We provide a physical health nurse, we provide mental health therapy, chemical health therapy, and so for their mental health, they just are traumatized and have low self-esteem. So trauma could even look like they grew up in a family where there was domestic violence, or they grew up in an area where there was a lot of gang violence, or they have been victims of sexual abuse. They have anxiety during nighttime. A lot of the assaults and their work is done at night, so at nighttime is kind of the hardest time for them. The way that the girls refer to their former pimps are always my boyfriend. They're very brainwashed and convinced that he's good for them. In order to help them recover, we take our residents through 4 stages: rescue, restore, recreate, and reemerge. However many times they need to come and have that time to try to get themselves together, then that's what we offer here at Brittany's Place.
After hearing from Dr. Madsen and her work, we went over to Breaking Free, another organization that works directly with sex trafficking victims. We talked to Joy Friedman, a survivor herself, about her work with Breaking Free.
Well, my name is Joy Friedman. I am the Training Outreach Director at Breaking Free. Breaking Free's mission is to end all forms of prostitution and sex trafficking. What inspired me to get involved in this work or this field was I was a survivor. I actually came through the doors of Breaking Free and utilized their support group and services. We actually are unique in the fact that we are survivor-led and survivor-ran, and that means a lot because women and girls need to see women and girls who look like them that have successfully gotten out. We work with over 500 women and girls each year, and the numbers are continuing to grow. We've got a young girl, actually recently a new one came through, who came through the criminal justice system. She was a juvenile, considered a throwaway. She had mental health issues on top of some social skill issues and learning disabilities. When we first walked through the door, she didn't want to talk to anyone. And she said some foul words such as, "Who the blank 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 are you? I don't want to blank blank talk to you or anybody else." And a unique piece about Breaking Free is that we hire survivors. And so when I came in the door and spoke to her, I said, "I understand you don't want to talk to nobody, but I just want you to listen to me." And then I explained to her that I was a survivor and where I had been. And something clicked in her when she heard the word survivor, and all of a sudden she started crying. The floodgates opened. She started talking about everything. I told her all she needed to do was give us a chance to help her. We were here for her. We were her voice. Where everyone else was there trying to tell her what she needed, no one had asked her what she wanted. We do say, "We love you." We do give hugs here. Why? Because that's realistic, and that's what's been missing out of her life. Someone who genuinely cares about her and her well-being. The misconception is that we enjoy what we do, and we don't. We can't stand it. People say there's no harm in it, it's safe. No. Anytime a door closes, whether it's a car or a hotel room, that affects you. It affects you psychologically, it affects you physically and emotionally. The uniqueness about Breaking Free is giving a voice to the women to speak out here in the world about the truths about this life, the violence that happens, the shame that goes with it. And that avenue we provide empowers women on their own to speak out and to take their story and make it their story. So we don't tell them what they need to do, we ask them what they want to do. They're the best teachers when it comes to this, and Breaking Free has always worked with that.